was a meeting of love. There were a couple of things that we talked about specifically where some people felt a little bit one way or the other, not a big deal. And I covered them. It wasn't so much a speech. I covered certain points. And I think I'd be very surprised.
You told them you were losing classification.
No, I didn't tell. Who told you I said I'm losing?
That's what we heard inside the room.
But that's a lie. Wait a minute. Wait. Who's told you that?
We heard from people inside the room.
Oh, really? It's totally true. I never used the term. I didn't say losing. I didn't even talk about it. In fact, it's the opposite. I think we're going to get it done. I'm not losing patients. We're ahead of schedule.
Walk us through the ideas behind the support for this bill and some of the line items that you're seeing on there.
Well, I mean, there's just a lot of cuts for everyday Americans, for the average American, for the working class American. You're going to extend the 2017 tax cuts from Trump's first term. You're going to give child tax credits. You're going to ensure that we're giving breaks for families with new babies. We're going to be removing taxes on tip and overtime pay. Two of the main Trump promises from his 2024 campaign are included in there, giving a $4,000 tax reduction for seniors. You're having all these economic investments. You're having a new energy sector that $500 billion is going to be invested into the energy sector. You're going to be revitalizing old highways and government programs with the $500 billion investments. There's all of these things. I know that like libertarians like Thomas Massey and others are advocating because of any government spending whatsoever. But we got to realize that the amount of success and the amount of opportunity this creates for the everyday American and the everyday working class American is going to be worth these spending and these in terms of these funding investments in the American workforce. And then you're getting back these no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, the extending the 2017 tax cuts from Trump's first term. All of these investments for this bill are why it's all encompassed in one big, beautiful bill. There are going to be several sectors that are going to be addressed. The economy, trade, infrastructure and investments, and several other important priorities in terms of policy that Trump promised to execute in what he always said. This is not going to be several bill passages. This is going to be several different types of legislation. This is an all-encompassing bill that's going to address the things that Trump ran on in 2024. And the Republican caucus needs to get behind Trump to deliver on these promises that the American people voted him in to implement. And this bill is going to address many of those challenges.
Well, and again, a baby in every crib, I guess you could say, because they've got the MAGA baby savings accounts. This idea of a 401k for babies, Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt had mentioned it yesterday during the press conference. But this is huge. This idea that the Trump administration, and I think the MAGA movement writ large, needs to become a pro-family movement. And this is something where, and there's been so many things where people have said, oh, well, should we do this? Should we do that? I said, guys, put families first. If you put families first, then all of the other things fall into relief when it comes to immigration, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to pro-life, when it comes to all of these other issues. If we actually step up and say we are for families, then that's why we want law and order. It's not because we have hatred towards any group or anything like that. It's because we love our families and we want to keep them safe. Kenny, do you think that this new MAGA baby savings accounts and some of the other pieces of this bill really get to that?
1,000%. I mean, if you look at any country in the world right now, all the population is going down. The entire world's population, in terms of starting new families, new babies being born, it's all going down. And Trump is making this investment to revitalize families. We are a pro-family party, whether that comes to abortion, when it comes to legal immigration, and when it comes to actual credits and encouraging people to have families. And the Democrat Party is the party of death. They're for abortion. They're for bringing murderers and rapists into this country over the Mexican border. But we are the party of life. We are a pro-life, anti-abortion, anti-illegal immigration, and anti this idea of going away from the nuclear family. We need to embrace the nuclear family. We need to embrace the idea of being pro-family. And with these pro-child tax credits, these baby 401ks, we are ensuring that the rejuvenation of the American family is put on the forefront of policy. And all of these policies are really pro-family. If you're talking about the child tax credit, you're talking about the child 401k, you're talking about the no tax on tips or no tax on overtime, or you're simply just talking about extending the 2017 tax cuts, or this the investment into infrastructure. They're going to revitalize American jobs.